going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman. I got a loaded show for you guys today, but before we get into that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Be sure you follow me on all the socials down in the description and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. All right, everybody, let's get into this. Oh, man. From the Hill, Biden makes surprise trip to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky. President Biden made a surprise stop in Kiev, Ukraine on Monday, meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and bringing word of new aid as the nation prepares to mark the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion. "It's good to be back in Kiev," said Biden, who sported a tie in Ukraine's colors, blue and yellow. It was Biden's first trip to the capital since the war began and his 8th visit overall. He spent roughly 5 hours in Kiev before departing the city. Ambassador Bridget Brink greeted him on arrival, and Zelensky and Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelensky, welcomed Biden as he arrived at Mariinsky Palace just after 8:30 a.m. local time. As the leaders headed into a bilateral meeting, Biden noted the reason behind the unannounced stop. "I thought it was critical that there not be any doubt, none whatsoever, about U.S. support for Ukraine in the war." I will have more on that in just a second. He noted that while some in Congress have called for a deceleration of aid to Ukraine, there is broad support for the nation's cause. It's not just about freedom in Ukraine, it's about freedom of democracy at large. And that's it. Now, of course, we are seeing massive levels of escalation from Russia because of this. From Reuters, Putin delivers nuclear warning to the West over Ukraine. Moscow, February 21st. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday delivered a nuclear warning to the West over Ukraine, suspending a landmark nuclear arms control treaty, announcing new strategic systems had been put on combat duty, and warning that Moscow could resume nuclear tests, speaking nearly a year to the day since ordering an invasion that has triggered the biggest confrontation with the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. Putin said Russia would achieve its war aims and accused the West of trying to destroy Russia. Now, look, at the end of the day, I don't know whether the West is trying to destroy Russia. I don't know whether NATO is trying to destroy Russia. But at the end of the day, none of that really matters because the Russians believe NATO is trying to destroy Russia. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we think. It doesn't matter whether we think Putin is crazy, whether we think that he's just, some Neanderthal who just wants to kill a bunch of people in another nation. It doesn't matter whether we believe that or not, because he believes it. He believes that he's in the right. The Russians believe they are in the right. And that's all you need for a major catastrophe and major escalation in a conflict that has already killed well over 100,000 people. Now, of course, there is major ramifications for this when it comes to the Ukraine war. But I think Biden might have forgot about something whenever he decided to go and take this visit to Ukraine. Oh, that's right. His own people. From Newsweek, East Palestine mayor slams Biden for Kiev visit as slap in the face. Close this. Trent Conaway, mayor of East Palestine, Ohio, ripped President Joe Biden for visiting Kiev, Ukraine, as his village faces the fallout of a train derailment triggering a toxic chemical spill. No. The train derailment happened, and then the company behind the ownership of the train and the railway decided that they were going to do a controlled burn. This is a man-made disaster. Conaway was asked Monday during a TV appearance on Fox News, Jesse Waters' primetime weather. He was surprised to hear that the president was in Kiev on Monday morning. Absolutely. That was the biggest slap in the face, Conaway said. That tells you right now he doesn't care about us. And that is the reality that we as Americans need to come to terms with. Now, ultimately, we really should have come to terms with this a long time ago because the writing has been on the wall about this for a while. But let me just make this clear, guys. The federal government does not like you. The federal government does not care about you. And the federal government is definitely not coming to save you. They're not coming to save you. Your city will be on fire. There will be rioting. Your city will be in a state of emergency. Your people will be, your water will be contaminated. Your air will be unbreathable. And the federal government will not give a flying rip because they have their agendas and you don't fit the agenda. We have to be self-sustaining as Americans. We have to be self-sustaining. We have to be able to sustain ourselves. Give you some tips on how to do that, okay? 1, get out of cities. Get out of urban centers. Move out to the boonies, okay? Get away from these major urban centers. Now I get it. East Palestine is not a major urban center. There's only about 5,000 people that live there. Okay, I get that, but this chemical spill, this controlled burn that was caused by this company, it's affecting other major urban centers, and those people run out of water. It gets chaotic. It gets chaotic real quick. So get out of the cities. Okay, get out of the cities. You need to be having. You know what I'm saying? You're going to laugh. You're going to laugh. But at the end of the day, I don't really care because we got to be self-sustaining as Americans. You need to be getting out of the cities. You need to be having some chickens. You need to be having some goats. You need to be growing your own food. And it's absolutely hilarious. The people that sit there and will laugh at me for saying those things are the ones that were completely helpless during COVID. You go over to, I'm telling you, you go over to a lot of European countries like Poland. They don't have food shortage problems. They don't have this issue because 1, they all have gardens, they all have chickens, they all have goats. They all know how to preserve food very well, preserve their own food that they grew themselves. They are their own food production. They don't require, a chicken to be slaughtered in Mexico so that it can show up on your chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A in Texas. Okay? They don't require that. They do all that themselves. We have to be more self-sustaining because it is very clear that the federal government is not going to help you. This is very clear. There's this disaster in East Palestine, Ohio, is affecting millions of Americans. And where is Joe Biden? Oh, he's giving $500 million more worth of aid to another country. Ukraine is not America. Those are not the American people. We are. Why is the president of the United States completely unwilling to help the American people? And of course, this came after President Biden told Governor DeWine that he would give the state of Ohio whatever help they needed. And then, of course, when Governor DeWine reached out to him, Biden said, "No, I don't think we will." They don't care about you. They don't care about us. It's time to be self-sustaining. And, of course, that is going to lead me into my final story of the day. But before we get into that, if you guys have not liked the video yet, if you guys have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment in the comment section, help me grow the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Okay, for the final story of the day, this goes right along with everything I've been talking about in this video. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a member of the House, said, "We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this. From the sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous America last policies, we are done." Man, how on earth did we get here? How did we get to the point where we have politicians in our own federal government saying that this country needs to split up? This is the most polarized that our country has been since the last Civil War. That's a reality. And ultimately, it is ripping this country apart. Now, I love the United States. I love my country. If it ever came to blows with another nation, I would fight for my country. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we are reaching a boiling point. We are reaching a point of no return. And when it comes to let's think about this. When it comes to a choice between a civil conflict that could become hot, basically, when it comes to a civil war or a national divorce, I'm choosing national divorce every single day. Because I don't want thousands of Americans to be killed in some dumb conflict, all because we couldn't see the writing on the wall that this isn't working. Now, how did we get here? Ultimately, this could have worked. Absolutely. The United States easily can work. It's just that the federal government has to let go of some power. And the reality is that I don't really see that happening. I mean, let's be honest. How many times throughout history has any government given up power? How many times? I can't think of many times throughout history where that's happened. Very, very few. Ultimately, the federal government is not going to change. Unless there is just some kind of drastic, unless we can get some kind of convention of states where we're able to go in and change the Constitution and put in new parameters around what the federal government can and cannot do. Unless we're able to do that and really put the federal government in check, I don't see this changing. And we kind of lost the ability to do that in the midterm elections when the Republicans lost control of more states. We're in dangerous times, guys. We are in dangerous times. Ultimately, I feel like all it would take is one major event. One major event for this country to just split up and say we're done. Now, ultimately, me living in the state of Texas, I've been saying that Texas should just dip out of here for a long time, but that's neither here nor there. We're living in dangerous times, guys. You need to be prepared. You need to be self-sustaining. Get out of the cities. Get out of the major urban centers. Homeschool your kids. Teach your children moral values. Look, if you're not a Christian, fine. I'm not saying you got to teach your children moral Christian values. Just teach your children good moral values. Teach your children to be good people. Be self-sustaining. Be good individuals. Be kind. Be loving towards one another. Because at the end of the day, if this goes hot, we are going to be in a serious mess. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I will have another show coming for you on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think of all this craziness that is happening right now. I will see you guys in the next show. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.